Chapter 6. The chapter about the wise. One should stay with one who reproves you wisely. The monks did not want to ordain a poor Brahmin, Radha, but the Buddha, seeing his potential, allowed it. Venerable Sariputta gave him guidance, which he followed to the letter and soon became an arhat. The Buddha then spoke this verse about being amenable to admonition. 76. One should see one who shows your faults, just like one who points out treasure. One should keep company with such a sagacious, learned person. Keeping company with such is surely better for you, not worse. One should give advice. The Buddha asked the chief disciples to advise and instruct some of their wayward disciples. Some accepted the advice, some returned to lay life, and others were later expelled. The Buddha spoke this verse by way of instruction. 77. One should both advise and instruct, and forbid whatever is vile, for it is dear to the good, but it is not dear to the bad. Who to keep company with? Venerable Channa was always abusing the chief disciples. When the Buddha found out, he admonished him with this verse. But still he refused to refrain. At the Buddha's bidding, he was isolated by the monks, and he later repented and became an arhat. 78. One should not keep company with those wicked friends. One should not keep company with the ignoble. You should keep company with spiritual friends. You should keep company with those superior. The wise delight in the Dhamma. Venerable Mahakapina, who was formerly a king, was given to exclaiming his delight, and the monks feared he was recalling the joys he had when king. The Buddha explained the true reason for his exclamation was delight in the Dhamma, and spoke this verse about him. 79. The one who drinks Dhamma lives well, with a clear mind. The wise one will always delight in the Dhamma that is made known by the noble. The wise straighten themselves out. The novice Pandita saw that irrigators, fletchers, and carpenters mastered the objects they worked with, and realized that if they can master unconscious things, he could master his mind. By striving, he did just that and became an arhat. The Buddha then spoke this verse about him. 80. Course makers lead water. Fletchers straighten arrows. Carpenters straighten wood. The wise master themselves. The wise are unperturbed. The elder Lakuntaka Patiya was a dwarf who became an arhat. Because of his condition, the novices and others used to tease him. But he remained unmoved, and the Buddha explained why this was so with this verse. 81. Just as solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by either blame or praise. The wise are clear and confident. Kana resented and reviled the monks for taking cakes she wanted to offer to her husband. But the Buddha showed they had only taken what was offered, and she gained faith and attained stream entry. The Buddha explained she had also been offended in a past life, and then spoke this verse. 82. Like a lake that is deep and clear, like a lake that is unruffled, just so the wise are confident after listening to Dhamma. The wise are untouched by contacts. During a famine, the Buddha and his monks lived frugally and without complaint. Later, rogues who lived off the leavings of the monks roamed around making a nuisance of themselves. The Buddha praised those who lived restrained and spoke this verse. 83. True people surely everywhere renounce. The good do not talk about sense pleasures, when touched by pleasure or by suffering. The wise are not elated or depressed. One should not desire success through corruption. The householder Dhammika wanted to ordain, but his wife persuaded him for some time to delay it. Eventually, he ordained anyway, became an arhat, and went back to teach his wife and son, who themselves ordained and became arhats. The Buddha taught this verse with Venerable Dhammika in mind. 84. Not for one's own sake and not for another's sake. Not desiring a child, riches, or a kingdom. He should not desire his success through corruption. He should be both virtuous and wise and righteous. Those who act on Dhamma will go beyond. Some people in Savatthi went to listen to Dhamma, but were overcome by lust, hatred, or drowsiness, and none of them gained from it. The Buddha explained that this is quite common amongst people with this verse. 85, 86. Amongst humans, few people go beyond. The rest of the people run down the bank. But those who live righteously, conforming with this well-taught Dhamma, they go beyond the realm of death, that which is hard to cross. Developing renunciation and awakening. 50 monks who passed the rains retreat in Kosala visited the Buddha in Savatthi after the retreat, and this is the inspiring teaching the Buddha gave them on that occasion. 87. Having abandoned the dark state, the wise should develop the bright. Having gone forth to homelessness, from home, living in solitude, where it is hard to find delight. 88. One should take delight in that place, having given up sense pleasures, and having no possessions. The wise one should then purify the self of defilements of mind. 89. For those who have well developed the factors of awakening, having given up grasping, those who delight in being unattached, pollutant-free, and shining forth, are emancipated here.